Welcome back, everybody. This is part 3 of lesson 30, area of a polygon. And question number 6 is the last question, although probably the one that's most involved. This is very similar to a coordinate geometry proof. So number 6, a quad has vertices at A, -5, 2. So we'll plot that point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, -5, 2, up to. So this is point A. And then B at 7, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7, 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and so that's point B, 9, 0. So that's 7, 8, 9, 0. And then -3, -4. 1, 2, 3 to the left and 4 down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here we go. So it sure helps to, in this case, have graph paper, and we're going to connect the segments here to come up with our rectangle. And the problem is that we would like to say it's a rectangle just by looking at it, but we will need to prove this by doing slopes. Okay, so here we go. It's okay, I guess. Let me just label our coordinates. Always a circular manner. That was A, and then this was B, and this is C, and this is D. Okay. So the first question is, calculate the slopes of all 4 sides, and we'll use our slope formula. For those who have forgotten our slope formula, it will be, in this case, m, which is a slope is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. All right, and so so to keep in mind, it's the difference of the y's over those x's in a particular order, though. So for AB, so the slope of AB will be, in this case, 6 minus 2 over 7 minus -5. And we get 4 over 12, which simplifies to 1/3. Now for the slope of BC. Slope of BC. Okay, and then BC will be, in this case, 0 minus 6 over 9 minus 7, that's -6 over 2, or -3 over 1. So we do definitely have a right angle here. So how do we know this? Well, we know there's a right angle because when the two segments have negative reciprocal slopes, they are perpendicular to each other, and they will form the perpendicular lines form right angles. Let's continue finding the other slopes. So now we're going to find the slope of CD. Slope CD. In this case, we'll do -4 minus 0 over -3 minus 9 gives us -4 over -12, or positive 1/3. We definitely know that AB is parallel CD because we know when two segments have the same exact slope value, then they're parallel to each other. And finally, let's find, in this case, the slope of AD. So the slope of AD in this case will be, for AD, we'll do 2 minus -4 over -5 minus -3, and that becomes 6 over -2 or -3 over 1. So we're going to now make a number of statements here. First, we will prove that the ABC is a rectangle. To do this, we need to make sure we have certain information. So in our coordinate geometry proof, we're going to say the following. We will say AB is parallel to CD. And not only that, we're also going to say that BC is parallel to AD. And our reason, if two segments have equal slopes, have the same slopes, then they are parallel. We continue continue to prove now in this case that if we have a quadrilateral with both pairs opposite sides parallel, it must be a parallelogram. So we'll say quad ABCD is a parallelogram. If a quad has both pairs of opposite sides parallel, then it is a parallelogram. And now, so we got that far because you have to prove that a quadrilateral is a parallelogram before you can prove it's a rectangle, because by definition, a rectangle is a parallelogram with one right angle. Now comes the right angle. We're now going to say in this next step that AB is perpendicular to BC. And saying, okay, well, why is that the case? So, well, you'll see AB and BC, they have 1/3 and -3 of 1. So we know that perpendicular because we can say if two segments have negative reciprocal slopes, then they are perpendicular. And now you're saying, okay, well, is that enough? Not yet. Because we know it's perpendicular, we can now say angle B is a right angle. And the reason is going to be perpendicular lines form right angles. Now, once we have all this, we can then summarize by saying the following, that parallelogram ABCD is a rectangle. And reason would be if a parallelogram, I'm going to use a symbol parallelogram, has a right angle, then it is a parallelogram. Oh, sorry, rectangle. Okay, so hopefully my words are a little more clear than my handwriting, ladies and gentlemen. So, but I will make this a full screen for this part here. This is all part A. This is only part A, okay? So, we want to first prove that the slopes are, that A, B, and CD are parallel, and B, C, and AD are parallel, because if two segments have the same slopes, then they are parallel to each other. Quad ABC is a parallelogram. If a quad has both pairs of opposite sides parallel, then it's a parallelogram. AB is perpendicular to BC. If two segments have negative reciprocal slopes, then they're perpendicular. Angle B is a right angle. Now, how we know where AB and BC meet, that's a right angle. We kind of showed that, so because of the perpendicular. And therefore, that being the case, we can now say that, okay, angle B is a right angle because perpendicular lines are right angles. And finally, parallelogram ABC is a rectangle. If a parallelogram has a right angle, then it's a rectangle. And so this is all we need to explain. We need to explain all of this here to prove it's a rectangle, though. So, okay, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so now, hopefully you got all of this here. Okay, I'm gonna make this a larger screen, so scroll down so you can take a look at the work. Okay, if you need to now take a look at the work. Okay. All right, so now for cases if I need space, I'm gonna erase all this stuff here because I need to get to part B and part C. All right, so the proof itself was quite a bit of work. I'm going to leave the work here because I think I'm going to use the work a little bit. Okay, so now the second part, determine the lengths of the base and the height of this rectangle in simplest radical form. Now the funny part is this. For a lot of work is done already for us, because why do I say that? Well, we have AB, and the distance formula for AB is going to be difference of the x's, which is 7 minus negative 5 squared, plus difference of the y's, 6 minus 2 squared, which is the square root of, in this case, 12 squared plus 4 squared. And that's going to be the square root of 144 plus 16 is equal to 100, and I believe in this case 1 squared or 160. Now, simplest form, well, this will be the square root of 16 times square root of 10, or 4 square root of 10. All right, so now I'm going to call that AB. That'll be the length, okay? And so this will be 4 square root of 10. All right, now I'm going to find BC, okay? And BC, now you're saying, well, you know, how are we getting those numbers from? I'm looking right at our slope information. Because it's all there. It's all there, ladies and gentlemen, because the difference of the x's is right here. So we know in this case 9 minus 7 squared plus 0 minus 6 squared is going to give us, in this case, 2 squared plus neg 6 squared, which is equal to 4 plus 36, or the square root of 40. And the square root of 40 is square root of 4 times square root of 10, which is 2 square root of 10. So our height here will be 2 square root of 10. Now the area of our rectangle. Well, we have our base, which is going to be 4 squared, our length 4 squared 10, and our width 2 squared 10, and so the area is equal to the length times width, which is the same as base times height, which would be the same as, just in this case, 4 square root of 10 times 2 square root of 10. Now, if you multiply these radicals, we multiply the outside number with the outside number, which is 4 times 2 is equal to 8. And the square root of 10 times square root of 10 is square root of 100. But the square root of 100 can be simplified into 10, which leaves us an area of 80 units squared. And this is our final answer. So a lot of work here. Now, we didn't have to find all 4 sides, okay, just to find the length and the width, or the base and the height, all right? And so we use our information from our, you know, it doesn't hurt to be able to look back into our slopes. That's why I like to leave all the work, because it sometimes comes up again. So here, this is the full amount. So I'm going to, again, full page here for you to see. This is part B, part C. Part B was to find the base and the height, which would be the 4 square root of 10, which is the base, and the height would be 2 square root of 10. And so, here we multiply them together, and we got 80 square units. Ladies and gentlemen, this was a long one. Make sure you show all the work. This is going to be a lengthy process, so I have to make some space and all. Please go back to the beginning of the video if you need to take a look at how we did these things and all the explanations. Work is going to be pretty long for this one as well too. So I hope this video was helpful to you guys. So if you found this helpful, before that though, and leave any questions or comments in the comment section below. I appreciate any critiques, what you think can be done better, or you know what you really liked about the video. That'd be helpful to kind of focus on these things. If you like to see anything else explained a little further, that'd be helpful too, or even extra topics you'd like to see done. And of course, please leave a like for the video if you found it helpful at all. All right, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to know when new videos are being added to the channel. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. And this is the end of part 3 of our review of lesson 30, area of Polygon. I'm sorry. And I hope you enjoyed it. Okay, take care, be safe. I'll see you in the next video.